About 2 years ago, SpongeBob Smash Bros. Tested the logical limit of just how unfinished you can release a game and still make money due to nostalgia. Turns out, there was no limit, and they raked in the cash. In fact, they probably could have just reskinned Pong with SpongeBob's face, sold it for $50, and it would still print money. But wait, plot twist, Super Sponge Bros is back, asking for even more of your hard-earned cash. And now, I think it actually might be kinda worth it. You will basically be an unpaid early alpha playtester, but unlike before, there's a lot of game here now, and I can't lie, it's kind of awesome. It takes a surprising amount of inspiration from fighting games like Street Fighter and Guilty Gear, while also capturing what I love about Smash Bros. And it has Garfield. So today, let's talk about Garfield Game, the sequel to SpongeBob Game, from what's amazing about it, to what sucks really, really bad about it, to why the slime mechanic is the future of this entire damn genre, and it might just make this game worth a shot, even if you don't normally like platform fighters. Now, the fact that I have spent a cumulative total of $100 on the Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl series is something that I will have to live with for the rest of my life. It is my cross to bear, so please, slap that subscribe button and your 0.03 cents of ad revenue just might help me get that money back. So, first off, the good. And yes, finally, the Nickelodeon fighting game does a good job of representing the Nickelodeon characters. Look at SpongeBob. He sounds like SpongeBob, the animations are expressive, and he just feels right, rather than being a voiceless plastic thing. Every character in the first Nick All-Star Brawl was like looking at that one really bad wax figure of Obama. Like, this thing might share some superficial elements of Obama, but that's not Obama. Nick Brawl 2 has taken a huge step in leaving the uncanny valley, and all its characters feel very lovingly crafted, like well-made wax Obamas. When you see a character on screen in this game, you recognize them as that actual character from how they look, move, and speak, which I can't stress enough is the absolute most important achievement for a crossover of any kind. Smash Bros. Wouldn't be nearly as successful if it were the epic battle between Sonic, Morph, and Lonk, though I actually would kinda play that. But clearly, the effort the Smash team puts in for their meticulous accuracy and faith to the source material is half the joy of the series, and it's actually really cool to see another platform fighter finally feel like it hits the mark there. Garfield's up air is him thinking about lasagna. He has a shine where he turns into Fat Garfield, and his playstyle consists of eating food to build up a food meter. And like, yeah, that's Garfield. That's what he would do. Plankton is slow but full of stupid gimmicks, and he is constantly pissed off, as he should be. And he actually talks shit about your gameplay directly, leading to my favorite anti-air of all time. And Jimmy Neutron is this ridiculous puppet character with Goddard, you know, Jimmy's flying robot dog, and Goddard works like a stance you can remote control, and you can program your missile's path mid-game like a robot. It is amazing. To win with Jimmy Neutron, you must become Jimmy Neutron. I hope these examples can show you that in this game, every little reference and piece of characterization feels so spot on. And you know, Smash has dominated the platform fighter space for so long that no other game in this genre can ever escape being constantly compared to it. But the boatloads of Nintendo money dumped into every Smash title's budget make it a near impossible challenge for any new game to even start to compete for that massive audience. Developers have broken that curse by either making their game free to play or by giving their game Rivals Workshop so you can make Ronald McDonald fight Pepsi Man, but we haven't seen too many games really try to tackle Smash on its own turf and actually seem like something worth buying. So I think bootleg Nickelodeon Melee is honestly a pretty big deal. Turns out you totally can learn to replicate that Smash crossover magic. It might take you a couple tries to do that. You will have to make a SpongeBob game 1 first and learn from your mistakes. Well, that's exactly what they did. The characters have personality, the animations have weight to them, the super moves. Actually, those kinda suck, forgot I mentioned them, but the stages look great, and as for the music, well, I have prepared a brief comparison of the Flying Dutchman theme between these two games. Let's give it a listen. Now, music is subjective. However, yeah, no, that's just better. Garfield game has plenty of flaws, a whole lot of them, and we will talk about them. But it has absolutely captured the Smash Bros. Spirit in a way I don't think anybody else has done before. And gameplay-wise, they took it even further by deciding to steal a bunch of moves from Smash directly.
I'll steal it! No! no one will ever know!
It is the best thing ever. And when I say it like that, I realize I sound sarcastic, but folks, I am actually so happy they knew when to straight up copy all the best moves from Smash. Some of these games can get so quirky trying to do literally everything different from Smash Bros. That they leave out the fun parts of Smash Bros. Like, as you might know, this is Cloud Up Air, and it's really fun. And as a developer, you could dance around it and try to come up with all these pointless changes to make it look like you're not copying Cloud Up Air, but it just comes across as lacking confidence to me. You know everyone is just going to compare you to Smash anyway, so who are you fooling? But Nick Brawl 2 says, let's give Cloud Up Air and Sephiroth Up Air to a Ninja Turtle and see what happens, and that's awesome. Seriously, when this grandma does these animations, well, they know she's Captain Falcon, we know she's Captain Falcon, and they know we know she's Captain Falcon. But wait, she's also Faust from Guilty Gear. Like, she just has his random item toss special move, and hold on, what the hell is she doing now? See, it's not just Smash they took some ideas from. Like, check out Azula's moveset. She's an evil murder-crazed psychopath firebender, so what did they do? That's right, they gave her Akuma Fireball. Every psychopath needs Akuma Fireball. The characters here all have crazy new mechanics that make them stand out, but they're built around familiar, fan-favorite options from lots of different games that are combined in interesting ways. They have Vegeta Assist, but it's a beaver. They have Potemkin Buster, Roman Cancel, kill them instantly, but it's on Plankton. I love this approach because it keeps the strategy of Smash Bros. Intact while adding a very fresh take on things that really does draw from the wider fighting game genre. And that philosophy carries over to the engine. Now, I might offend some Nick Brawl diehards here, and I'm sorry, but that first SpongeBob game ended up being, to put it simply, a bit of a mashy mess. It felt like they threw a bunch of things together to try and recreate the appeal of Melee without really understanding why people love Melee so much. Rather than being distinct and expressive, character playstyles were flat and way too similar, and there were some major things missing compared to Smash Bros. Sometimes in a how does this even happen sort of way. I mean, the engine lacked certain slightly important features, such as walking. You could not walk, you had to run all the time. As a result, we ended up with a presumably Melee-style game where you physically could not walk up slowly and down smash anyone. The speed was there, but the precision simply wasn't, so it felt less like playing Smash and more like driving a rapidly accelerating SpongeBob-themed car with no steering wheel or brakes. And remember, you paid $50 just to get on that death trap. Well, the sequel smartly decides to slow down the speed, while giving more control and bringing movement more in line with the traditional Smash formula. Not only that, but it simplifies a lot of the most annoying actions for new players, like making wave dashing painless and platform shield drops just a button press, which makes for a competitive game that is ironically way easier to learn and more approachable than Smash, in a way that feels more in line with modern fighting game design rather than whatever Nintendo is smoking. Because the Spongebob developers know what competitive players like to do, they were able to cut away a lot of the artificial difficulty that plagues the Smash titles, like Ultimate's horrible buffer jank and sticky platforms, or Melee's. Well, I love Melee, but I'll just say there's a reason that every Melee tournament uses a mod that makes inputs easier. Compared to those games, in Nick Brawl 2, you can very easily learn how to make your character move the way you want them to. And for that reason, as crazy as it sounds, I would recommend the Garfield game over Smash Bros. To any esport athlete who wants to experience the fun of Smash Bros. Even if you don't like Garfield. Actually, if you don't like Garfield, it's a win-win, because you get to beat up Garfield in this game. But I haven't even mentioned the biggest reason why this title might be worth checking out if you enjoy any kind of fighting game. You see, it features a certain very genre-spanning and very neon green addition to the Smash formula, which I think is going to be a complete game changer for platform fighters. And that addition is slime. That's right, Smash games finally got a meter, folks. Okay, I know Rushdown Revolt technically has a meter already, but that game doesn't have Patrick in it, so it's not the same. Seriously though, I honestly think the slime meter is crazier and more thought out than any other resource system this genre has ever seen. And it turns Nick Brawl 2 into something completely different and unique. Slime is a super meter. It is Street Fighter EX versions of all your specials. It is an anime fighter air dash. It is Guilty Gear Roman cancels and Guilty Gear burst and Guilty Gear faultless defense. It is the Boko Bar. It really feels like someone looked at every fighting game and was like, hey, what does that cool glowy bar do? And then they put like most of the stuff any cool glowy bar could possibly do in Smash. In fact, since Street Fighter 6 came out this year too, and as I said, I love that game's drive gauge, I am declaring 2023 a year of cool glowy bar successes. Please keep them coming, devs. But yeah, slime is just the best, and it really gives this game an identity. A little bit of meter can turn a bad recovery into a good one, or transform Spongebob into a terrifying bubble-blowing projectile god. Every single special move in the game can be slimed for wildly different effects. Every dodge can be turned into an insane air dash in any direction. And you can use it to cancel basically any move whenever you want, whether it's to turn a simple jab into a kill confirm, or to turn a dash attack into a bootleg drive rush and go flying across the screen. Or I can throw out a risky charge attack, then burn meter to cancel it, then charge attack again. I am constantly making decisions that I have never had to make in a platform fighter before, and to me, that's the sign of something special. In the first Spongebob game, it kind of felt like stocks would bleed together into this predictable sludge of the same combo starters and finishers, but in Garfield game, there are so many memorable moments and insane plays to laugh or rage about with friends. You can spend your whole meter at once to briefly go Super Saiyan, or burn your last bar on a crazy final gambit.
Oh, what? Did you slime it?
Or wait for someone else to do that and use Burst to pull out the Uno reverse card. You can raw super on Wake Up in a platform fighter now. You shouldn't, but you can. Plus the game lets you slime cancel taunts to flex on people, it's great. Only complaint is that I do wish we got actual tutorials on this stuff, since a lot of the depth is hidden. Like, if your shield is hit in the corner, you basically get guard crushed into a free hit. But you can prevent that by spending slime on your shield. That's cool, but the game doesn't tell you about it anywhere, and very few players are actually doing it. Meanwhile, Guilty Gear Strive has a whole tutorial for faultless defense, and like, copy that part too, devs. If you're gonna copy, why stop halfway? Still though, I think Garfield game is onto something huge and even genre changing here. At its best, it really does feel like a straight up evolution of platform fighters inspired by traditional fighting games. Slime alone goes a long way to justify this game's price. And it even makes me feel better about wasting $50 on the first game, cause now I can gaslight myself into thinking it was simply an investment in the genre rather than me getting baited by nostalgia and played like SpongeBob's nose. So going forward, I better see a lot more slime-fueled platform fighters, or I'm gonna be very sad. But at least we will have one more when Nickelodeon inevitably forces these developers to crunch on a third game in 2024. By the way, there is one more thing this game learns from non-platform fighters that I really appreciate, which is that every character has more moves than in Smash. And it's not just the meter versions of specials. See, in Nick Brawl, every character has a unique set of charge attacks on the ground and in the air. Now, as you might know, every platform fighter needs to have a different word for smash attacks so that Nintendo's lawyers don't smite them on the spot for the sin of hubris. But I would argue this game's charge attacks actually earn their legally distinct name. There are tons of projectiles and unique mechanics hidden here, and a lot of these things are so crazy that they're practically special moves in their own right. And because characters have so many more aerials now, even the wackiest aerial charge attacks never feel like a waste of a slot. Like, check out Donatello's moveset. He gets this crazy flashy dive kick as a charge down air, but he also gets a normal safe poke as a light down air. And once you learn this system, being able to choose between Cloud and Sephiroth up air, or a normal punch fair and a weird projectile fair, well, it seems like something that is straight up missing from Smash. That's how cool it is. And design-wise, it opens the door to some wild attacks that really break the mold in terms of aerials. Like, Grandma Gertie's charge down air is literally a grapple swing you can slime cancel to go flying across the screen. It is very unhinged in all the right ways. Well, now that I've told you why I love the core of this game, it's time to talk about everything surrounding the actual fighting part, which is unfortunately where my feelings get a lot more mixed. So buckle up, and let's just sort of descend down this iceberg. First off, the campaign. It's a roguelike, it is voice acted, it's not amazing, but I did have some fun with it, which actually does put it in the top 10% of platform fighter campaigns. If I have even one crumb of fun with your single player mode, you have succeeded tremendously in this cursed genre where dropping a 6 out of 10 campaign is like walking on water. We are simply that desperate. So yeah, boss fights, platforming, a couple sensible chuckles, it's not bad. I did get soft locked twice because this game is unfinished, but they were funny soft locks, so I give it a pass. But still, yeah, if you're only looking at single player, I don't think it's worth the price tag, unless of course you have read all 14,000 Garfield comics and watched all 107 episodes of the Garfield show, and you have used the Garfield Eats food delivery app in Dubai.
Lasagna is on the menu, along with pizza shaped like Garfield's head, no less. They opened in Dubai.
And you are just starving for new Garfield content. Then maybe this campaign will be worth $50 to you. But for the rest of us, that value comes from multiplayer. Next is training mode, and I've seen some people praise this, but I actually kinda think it's worse than Smash Ultimate's by a lot. Platform fighter training modes like to do this thing where they add stuff that looks cool and vaguely sciencey, but then they don't actually do anything a training mode should do. Well, in Smash Ultimate, they gave us a stage made of graph paper and these fancy colored lines, and then they let us set the CPU to do one special move, and then they were like, okay, we're done here. That's your training mode. And Nick Brawl 2 takes this to the logical extreme in a way that I am truly baffled by. Graph paper stage is here. Pointless colored lines are here. And this time, you can actually see hitboxes, hurtboxes, and even stage collisions. And you cannot do anything else. You can't reset training mode. You can't make the dummy do a certain thing. The move list gives you zero information. It is truly awful, even compared to Smash training mode. But of course, it looks like graph paper and there are cool lines. Clearly, that's exactly what we need to improve. Seriously though, am I becoming a training mode boomer, or is this obsession with form over function absolutely infuriating? If this trend continues, the next big platform fighter training mode will display your character's height, weight, political views, and medical history, and you will not be able to jump. I mean, save states, combo breakers, input recording. I don't want to be an armchair dev here, but Smash modders built this shit with a box of scraps into a game that does not want to be modded. I am sure Garfield game could at least have given us a way to make the computer use an attack. Although I will say, Garfield does canonically hate training mode. I did the research for this video, and in the Garfield strip on July 1st, 2012, John Arbuckle says he did 100 push-ups, but Garfield judges him when it turns out they were video game push-ups. And yet, as we see in the strip from October 13th, 2010, Garfield always demolishes John Arbuckle in video games, which means this awful training mode is lore accurate, as Garfield would not train at this game, he would crush you with his natural talent. Training mode being useless is just canon. Anyway, continuing downwards, we have netcode. And oh, it looks like I reflexively put this near the bottom of the iceberg because this game is a platform fighter, but it turns out the netcode is actually really good. Yeah, my bad, I'll take that off the iceberg. Spongebob and pals are not screwing around with this buttery smooth rollback. Good job, team. Smash could never. But finally, controls. And controls are the most fundamental part of any video game. Being able to control what's on screen is what makes a game after all. And especially for a competitive experience, they are extremely important to absolutely knock out of the park. That's why Nickelodeon All-Star oh no. Uh-oh. On my end, I couldn't get past the main menu for a while, thanks to a bug that doubled my controller inputs and disabled my A button. Now, I've played a lot of games, many of them on that controller, but this was the first game I ever played where the menu felt like an actual boss fight. Sans doesn't count. Alright, hey everyone, welcome to my Nick All-Star Brawl 2 menu challenge.
12 seconds later.
Why is it doing that? What?
You failed.
7 hours later.
Well, I did find a workaround for my problems, but to put it simply, it seems like two people rarely have the same issue with this game's controller support and options, but rather everyone who buys this game will unlock their own unique controller bug, like it's a JoJo stand. Not to mention the options are just not there. And I really hope we see the day where every platform fighter dev sees controller support and a good training mode as fundamental parts of a complete game. I think there's a lot of passion in the Garfield fighter. I love the content, but I can't play it with my mind. I have to use my hands on a controller, and it's just a mess right now. I also really wish there were an option to do smash attacks the normal way, like the toggle in Rivals. Having a separate button is great, but personally my brain is just hardwired to smash attack with smash inputs, and that's not something I can just change. It's like how when I read hors d'oeuvres, my brain will always mentally hear it as horse doovers, and it will keep happening until I die, no matter what I do. I'm stuck in horse doovers hell, and it's the same for my smash attack inputs. What I'm trying to say is, let us customize this control stuff, not just because of my stupid brain, but for actual important reasons like accessibility as well. They are called controls, so please let us control them. Okay, so I actually lied earlier. Controls aren't the bottom of the iceberg. See, this iceberg actually goes all the way down through the ocean into the core of the Earth. And there, among the molten iron and nickel, you will find enough bugs to make a Bethesda game look like finely tuned clockwork. People are falling through floors all over the place. I saw someone literally win, but the game said he lost. There's even a bug where your opponent is completely invisible, which, by the way, is how you know Nick Brawl is inspired by multiple genres, because we're straight up importing bugs from FPS games now. And if you couldn't tell, these bugs are the main reason why my thoughts here are very conflicted. Honestly, this is one of those rare, weird games where almost every feature is either absolute genius or complete garbage. I think the campaign is the only thing I didn't consider either amazing or terrible, which makes it very hard for me to assign a number to this title when a quarter of it is 1 out of 10 and the rest is 10 out of 10. Just taking the average wouldn't tell the full story. Like, check out this Twitter thread from the lead combat designer of Garfield game. It's an extremely well thought out discussion on the challenges of designing heavy characters in platform fighters, and how they designed Nick Brawl's Reptar as an attempt to fix that archetype. This guy is pulling out the skill scaling graphs and charting damage versus hit rate to reach equilibrium. That is insane, and it really gives you some perspective on how much effort and thought went into what we just see as, wow, this character is pretty cool. So I will read that genius thread and play that character and see the vision and be blown away. And then my game soft locks itself, so I have to Alt F4. Game, how's it going? And then it tries to sell me its $20 day one costume DLC on the Steam page. Wow, that experience really makes me want to buy $45 worth of DLC. Where's my credit card? Seriously, how do you review a game that is so good and so bad at the same time? Nick Brawl 2 is the buggiest possible game I could still call a masterpiece, and I don't want to be cynical, but it feels like there's an executive somewhere who did that math. Clearly, there is a talented team behind this project who I suspect maybe got just a little bit capitalismed in the intricate dance between developer, publisher, and Nickelodeon. And it's wild, because in terms of gameplay, I think this might be the best platform fighter yet, seriously. And even people frustrated by Smash will find something new to love here. I just really wish I didn't have to beta test a game I paid $50 for. It does absolutely need some time in the oven, but at least this is like a slightly undercooked and soggy
Lasagna.
The best lasagna in the world?
while the first game was actually just a bowl of flour and some raw eggs. So I really can't understate the miracle that this game is as fun as it is. Well, there will be patches, the devs seem cool, and I'm sure a lot of these issues will be addressed with time, but I have to give my honest thoughts here. And this game's code right now is like a Jenga tower with half the pieces missing. A bunch of features are broken or weirdly hidden. The Switch version runs at 30 FPS and takes 40 seconds to load a game. It's been quite a launch. But hey, it has Spongebob, and the actual platform fighter here is seriously incredible. Like, really, really good. So I give Lasagna Cat game an 8 out of 10. And a 10 out of 10 if they fix their shit. I will have an up-to-date pinned comment on this video telling you whether or not they fixed their shit. So as always, thanks for watching, subscribe, now get the hell out there and learn the Squidward matchup.